Don't usually write short stories, so this is one of them, and I'm going to read an excerpt from Saltwater Railroad, which is the title of our reading, because we couldn't figure out another title, and I had a title for my story at the time. So, that is the reading.
It's like, yay, I get to talk about Andrea's story.
No! So, Miss Delia's Island was protected by deadly reefs on the Georgia-Florida side and 900 feet of jagged cliffs on the other. Indians called it Thunder Rock, a place where the wind and sea played rough and tumble. Spaniards named it Ghost Reef because of whirlpools, deadly fog, and wailing drowned folk who wouldn't rest. English sailors claimed that Delia was a vengeful slave hate, howling demon talk and luring men to a bloody death. What ship's captain would risk his crew or his own hide on quicksand beaches and breakneck ledges? The few adventurers stupid enough to land and lucky enough to get back off in one piece warned everybody to steer clear. Anybody who knew the waters gave the island a wide berth. Miss Delia was grateful for all the tall tales. Born in the last century after the colonies took their freedom from Britain, she'd grown craggy and wild like her rock refuge. She had a gap in her front teeth, droopy eyes, and high cheekbones, holding up tired skin. Always dressed in black, she blended into gloomy ledges day and night. Rainbow was her first spirit child. Delia was going through the change when she pulled Rainbow from the sea one night. The sky was falling, a shower of stars dissolved in the dark, spraying colorful sparks before hitting water. The whole island came out to watch the bright as daylight show. Not a sail in sight or a wayward canoe, just a ghostly sliver of moon floating at the horizon. Delia heard gasping and walked the rocks to a half-drowned creature doggy paddling in a whirlpool. A long cylindrical tube coated with pitch and lashed to her back was helping her stay afloat. Blessings on us! Delia hugged the wet, lanky girl to her bosom. No seaweed stink, the castaway smelled like damp earth after a storm. A gift from the stars. Now, back in West Africa, Delia's father and his Dogon people believed in watery star beings traveling the skies in ships. Delia's mother wasn't sure about the ships, but she never argued about the star beings coming to our world, as best Delia could remember. A few islanders might have laughed behind Delia's back, Red Quincy and his crew of ne'er-do-wells, but nobody was going to deny Rainbow Star heritage to Delia's face. John Oates and the island scouts insisted nothing from the mainland or anywhere else had broken the surface of the sea for weeks. Islanders were always on guard for spies on their freedom or fresh supplies of castaways floating ashore. Who would dare lie about this? If nobody was sailing by, if no ship had broken up on the reefs, where else could Rainbow have come from but the stars? A body didn't swim all that way from mainland docks and live to tell the tale. You running from somewhere? Where you from? Delia asked the soggy young woman, who looked like she could have been from anywhere. Les Etoiles, Rainbow muttered. She wore a boy's breeches, a ragged cotton shirt, and a gentleman's vest. Well, how old are you? How old are you? Did your blood come yet? Rainbow clutched the watertight tube to her chest, like someone was about to wrest it from her sparkling fingers. Delia smelled terror on her. Ain't nobody gonna steal that from you. She wrung out the girl's wavy hair and wrapped her in a scratchy blanket. You talk English? He chopped my hands off. Rainbow held up shimmery fingers. I found these Ethiopian ones, or they found me, saved me. Delia scowled. Who chopped your hands? Preacher did. Rainbow looked lost and older than Granny Peaches. You must believe me. A convulsion spread through her body. Nobody ever believes me. I do, dear, I do. Delia rubbed calm into her. I almost drowned. These Ethiopian hands saved me again. Well, how long since you had something to eat or drink? Rainbow shrugged at islanders gawking at her with their stomachs rumbling in sympathy. All manner of people had run to the island. Miss Delia's maroons were the first. Later, old river pirates pulled ashore to rest and then gave up thieving. 2 pregnant white girls came in a canoe, mountain girls following the whispered tales of Seminole women they'd met in the swamp. Last month, a Free Creek woman and her slave husband braved the waves in a rowboat. Seeing that world of difference in the dark was hard for Rainbow. Too much light at the shore would turn slave gossip and Indian tall tales into a search party of paddy rollers, slave patrollers hunting pirate maroons. What you want here? Red Quincy shouted. He was spitting angry, but not because of a stranger floating in. He was always mad about not being in charge. Only a few white folks were lighter than he was. One grandmother was Seminole, the other Igbo from West Africa, but both his granddaddies were from Scotland. He could read, too, books, numbers, sea charts. He deserved to be king or president. I know you hear me. Are you a mainland spy? Questions shouted and suspicion rumbled made Rainbow shrink around her, too. She stuttered nonsense. A water skin found its way to her parched lips. Papa Moonbeam, a black man with snowy white hair in his beard and a bright, bald head, made her drink slow. A former river pirate, he was leader of the Scouts with John Oates, a Seminole medicine man that everyone always listened to, even when he said, "Hush that mean talk! Not much she can do to us." Fear fizzled and almost turned to curiosity. "How you called?" Moonbeam said. "What's your name?" The girl shrugged again. Miss Delia said the next word that filled her mouth, rainbow. Maybe because the girl's Ethiopian fingers glowed like the colorful stars falling toward the sea. Eyes wide, Rainbow nodded as if Delia had guessed the truth on the first try. "Well, you know, Jenny wouldn't want me to name you nothing stinky." Jenny Garlic grinned. She possessed all her teeth and was older than Delia. She had a Muskogee Creek Indian name too, but that was just for her bird clan folk. Delia knew Jenny's clan name, but she wasn't telling her. Jenny and her clan were island government. Jenny's 2 sons and her 3 daughters organized everything and everybody, a confederation of disparate souls, almost 100 the last time anybody counted. Jenny was always consulted when someone was about to join the islanders. Tasting the jittery mood of the folks gathered around them, Jenny said, "Rainbow belongs to us and herself now." Murmurs of agreement rippled out to sea. Red Quincy rolled his eyes, but kept his peace. "I've been holding on for you," Delia whispered to Rainbow. "I knew I'd get one more chance." "Only one?" Jenny said. She could hear underneath things. "For what?" Delia closed her eyes and squeezed a trembling Rainbow to her bony chest. Jenny's youngest son, William, gave a sign and islanders headed home, disappearing into caves above the beach. They sang and joked about falling stars, rainbows, and watery beings living above the sky. Happy for the brief burst of company, John Oates, Papa Moonbeam, and their scouts blended back into shadows. Picking up cold, damp posts, they set their minds on alert for the long night ahead. Delia had a cabin at the mouth of a cave. A stream under her bedroom a stream ran under her bedroom and gnawed at rocks outside her kitchen. She didn't light a lamp. Rainbow dropped wet and fully dressed onto her feather bed. It smelled of lavender and goose fat. Rainbow slept curled against Delia's belly, snoring and talking gibberish. Her hands looked like the night sky, dark velvet flecked with crystals. The cylindrical tube made from somebody's hide, perched in a chair beside the bed. The pitch smell tickled Delia's nose. It took whispering to her spirits to refrain from opening it up and spying secret treasure. Delia imagined poison, snakes, stolen jewels, rolls of silk cloth with golden embroideries, important papers that could make a body free. In the light of the next day, Rainbow woke with a start, flinched away from Delia, and fell out the bed. Delia laughed. I'm not going to eat you. Rainbow didn't look too sure. She surveyed Delia's collection of stones, dead, dried flowers, and damaged things. Bent wheels, rusty rigging, and broken pendulum clocks decorated walls and filled corners. Everybody be collecting something. Now, Red Quincy gathered slave papers and bounty notices to torment himself. That's not for me. Delia held up a busted mystery contraption. Melody and Fran, those two mountain girls with chubby cheek babies, they hunt music things, strings, guts, gourds, and hollow tubes. Jenny Garlic gathers hats, boots, and gloves. She'll give you some if you ask her. Rainbow picked up spectacles with shattered glass and twisted frames. From wrists to fingertips, her hands were many shades darker than her creamy brown arms and face. She had a watery hazel eye and a round one. Tiny breasts were offset by wide hips. Her hair, wavy on top and kinky at the back, glowed reddish under a dark brown. Who are your people, Delia asked? Colored folks? Indians? You all now? Right? Rainbow looked frightened saying this. Delia kissed her teeth. Oh, I ain't always been good to my people. She was too old for beating around the bush. Well, I don't know if I've been good to mine either, Rainbow replied. Fair warning. Delia opened shutters and let in the sea breeze. How'd you end up paddling in the drink? Rainbow peered out the window. Nothing but rocks to see from here. Her stomach growled. Where does everybody else live? Cabin by the cave suits me fine. Delia heated a pot of storm water. Some folks say I come into the world in South Carolina and got sold south. Other folks say I was born in a cave hut in West Africa near an altar with a hook to snag rain clouds. I was brought to the new world, younger than you, however old you are. I bet you're older than you look. Delia scratched her leg. You need cleaning up. Rainbow shrunk away from her. No. Well, I'll make you feel better. Delia opened a bottle of sweet oil and let Rainbow smell. You ain't used to somebody making you feel good, are you? Nobody nice except Rainbow closed her eyes. I can't remember. Delia scrubbed Rainbow's skin with crushed seashells. You got to know what kind of place this is before you decide. Well, who says I'm deciding anything? Rainbow clutched her too. Memories are precious. Delia combed tangled hair. I ain't always been right in the head, so sorting out early memories is a trick. My mother claimed back in Africa, Daddy's Dogon people resisted Islam, holding on to their own beliefs, and then ended up slaves to Christians in America. Delia patiently unraveled a snarl at Rainbow's neck. That's one of the last things she told me before they sold her away to a Creek Indian planter. Rainbow peered in Delia's eyes. What other wisdom did your mother speak? Well, after they cut my leg off, Rainbow stiffened, but Delia pretended not to notice. She rubbed sweet oil on Rainbow's Ethiopian hand. Midwife burned the wound to stop the blood, but said I was lost to this world. Sweating and raving, dying. Yet I swear my mother brought me another leg and talked to me in my father's Dogon tongue. Secrets follow other secrets. Your father knows buried treasures. Praise the men and they will remember to thank you. Appreciate the elders and they will recognize what you have to offer. Rainbow gasped. Stop! Oh, what you got me telling you? Delia bustled around getting breakfast on two sturdy legs. Sounds grand, but my new leg meant they worked me harder. Soft in the head, everybody took advantage. She made Rainbow eat till her belly was tight and fat. Well, where do you get eggs and beans and cornbread from? Rainbow wiped greasy lips and clutched her tube. You better at asking questions than answering them, Delia said. Well, you too. A cock crowed under the kitchen window. Delia smiled. I'll tell you if you tell me. Rainbow made no promises, but Delia did. She decided to talk truth, not only to her spirit, but to Rainbow too. Decided to tell her everything. Well, not right off, but soon. Every islander had hidden sorrows and joys, and nobody pried. And if a body did share some great secret, folks were good at keeping it secret. So good, in fact, that mainlanders sailed right by their hideaway and didn't see anything. Didn't even suspect they were there. Delia's people were invisible, a secret swallowed in a secret. After one day of resting, Delia took Rainbow down to the beach. They walked planks over quicksand to rocks jutting from the sea to gather driftwood or drift anything that might float their way. Rainbow had the tube lashed to her back. She didn't let that tube out of her sight. Red Quincy say giant whirlpools in the sea churn stuff our way, not water spirits. Delia held up a spyglass. Melody and Fran cheered. The mountain girls had fat babies slung on their backs. Rainbow counted 10 women with babies. Miss Delia, what you want always flows right to you, Jenny Garlick shouted. I have to dig and slog. Well, ain't that good for you? I said, ain't that good for you? Delia shouted back. Well, what good is this junk? Red Quincy and his crew of ne'er-do-wells ran the rocks with 3 canoes on their backs. Strapping, muscular, free men in the prime of their life. They were a grand sight. Since the sea was calm, they headed out to finish mapping dangerous waters. They launched at a gush of water from an underground stream. Storm runoff carried them past the worst reefs. Delia, Jenny, and a few others spoke prayers for their safe return in Indian and African tongues. Well, savage gods don't have any power, Rainbow said. It's worthless superstition to worship anything but our Lord Jesus. Melody and Fran laughed at this. Nose to nose, lanky hair mingling. Quincy snorted. Well, say a good word for us to your God, then. William, Jenny's youngest, called out from the lead canoe. He was the good-natured peacemaker in the clan. Rainbow sputtered. I don't know if Quincy wants a prayer from the likes of me. Delia dried her spyglass and stuffed it in a canvas bag. Quincy never thanked the clouds for falling down on us or the fish for feeding us. He got me pegged for a fool talking to Hank. He's a learned man and say water ain't got no spirit. Water just is. But I know a thing or two. Being takes all your spirit power. And when you done run through that power, what? You stop being. Or actually, you're ready to be something else. It's like climbing a mountain. At the summit, you're ready to roll down to somewhere new with everything the mountain got to give you. Being takes a lot of work. You ever try to be water? Delia said, and everybody but Rainbow smiled at the thought. Being water and your own self too, that requires much spirit power. I don't think I understand you, Rainbow said. Crazy talk, huh? Delia stiffened. What's that? You hear that? Now stop there.